Void return type. TypeScript is kind of ridiculous in this regard. It's kind of annoying. So you have this thing called truthy in, I'm sorry, not truthy. Well, yeah, you have truthy in JavaScript. Truthy versus falsy. And then you also have nullish. So things that are truthy are like objects. Empty arrays, I'm pretty sure. Maybe, let's see. Not array is true. Yeah, so that means the arrays are truthy, not empty object. That's truthy. Not zero is falsy. So that means that the like falsy is like 0, undefined, false, things that are like or I think empty strings falsy. Yeah, empty strings, stuff like that. Although an empty string can be or a 0 can be converted into a number, but not empty string of 0 is true. So that's just kind of a funny thing. 0 is falsy. Whatever. It's just kind of dumb. And then you have these things called nullish, which is like null and undefined. 0 actually utilizes something, but null and undefined are nullish, which they are like they don't actually represent anything in theory. So TypeScript adds on to this by adding types, for example, never and void. So never is basically used if a type should never enter into that point. It like if you have some sort of conditional types, never is used as like it will never be this type. It should never be this type. If it is this type, then there is a problem with your code. Void is basically the same thing as undefined. Void means it returns nothing. And so void is kind of a dumb type if you ask me. It means undefined. You haven't created a return type. Is basically what it means. And it's not returning anything, which means it's going to be returning undefined. And then null, same thing. It's still an object. But yeah, we add these other two types, never and void, that are kind of nullish. So I would say they kind of fit in that category. However, never and types, those are separate because they are actually types. They are not actual values in JavaScript. So that's just something to be aware of. So let's look at this JavaScript here. Okay, or we're in TypeScript here. So notice how we have this string because it doesn't return a value. You have to return salad in order for it to return. Otherwise, if I don't do that, of course I can't read the freaking thing. Basically, it's saying, hey, it's actually void. If I look at this, or if I do this, it's going to be returning void because it's not, because it's not assigned to anything. Okay, but if I return anything, it'll make it a string. And then I can force myself to make sure it's returning a string by, well, assigning it as a string. So let's take a look at this. Oh, let me get out of Node. Looks like the type indication for the return type of make fruit salad isn't quite right. Please correct this. What do you mean it's not quite right? Salad is a string. What are you talking about? It absolutely is. Unless you're saying return void. You want me to do that? Okay, well, that's not clear. You wanted it to be string, so I made it so return to string instead of... Okay, you want me to... Whatever. That's dumb. So, yeah. Basically, the void return type is just undefined when it's actually created, but void is If you don't return anything, then it's void. If it will never be a certain type, then it returns never, or it is never.